Hi, I'm Pat Fiume. I've been a realtor for over 30 years. I'm a host of the American Dream Show. Welcome to my show, Is This for Real Estate? Okay, so welcome back. So I want to do another quick show. I've been talking to Laney so much about this, and the reason I picked this name for my podcast, Is This for Real Estate, is because we've been doing this so long. We have so many crazy stories that if we ever wrote a book, no one would ever believe us. So, do you have any more crazy stories you'd like to start off with, or you want me to go first?
You go first.
Okay, well, I had a story. Let me think, which one was I going to tell? Well, I had this one. We were doing a walkthrough. This is about 15, 20 years ago, and I had the buyer, we're walking through the house, and everybody kept saying, "Where's Grandpa? Where's Grandpa?" Nobody could find Grandpa, right? So we get down to, it was a bi-level, I get down to the basement, I opened the powder room door, and all I saw was these old man's socks with the suspenders, and he was in the potty. So I just shut the door and ran away. I said, "I found Grandpa." It was so embarrassing.
Well, I encounter a lot of really gross things throughout my line of work. I guess there was several years ago that I entered a house and it stunk really bad. There was animal fecal matter all over the place.
Oh yeah.
And then I went into one of the bedrooms and I went to make the bed because the bed wasn't made. And then I discovered that there was human fecal matter all over too. So I jumped back and I was like, "I'm not making that bed."
I wouldn't.
No. It was gross.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
So I went into a listing, this is going back probably 30 years ago when I was fairly new. And I went into, it was like a bookshop or something. It was one of the little towns around here. I'm not going to name the town in case it's still there. But they wanted to sell, it was like a row home bookshop kind of business. And I had this weird vibe in there. There was a lot of and this was before the crystals and all that stuff was real big, like it's been the last 15 or so years. This is 30 years ago. It was all crystals and weird statues, and I'm very thick, heavy bound leather books. I didn't have my glasses on, so I really couldn't read. I'm like this, trying to read the names of the books, and the woman just, you have the hair goes up on the back of your neck, like I was getting the willies. And every room we went through, I'm taking my measurements and talking to her, and she was a little weird, odd. And she goes, "Oh, the best for last, we're going to the basement." So I get down the basement, and there's actually a pentagram of witchcraft painted on the basement floor, and there was lights around it, and the hair in the back of my neck was like, zoop. So I got done on it, and we went upstairs. I said, "Okay, thank you very much. I will give you a call." And I just left. I didn't even go back. I just was so freaked out.
Yeah, if you're not careful, she'd cast a spell on you.
I know. She may have on the way out. I don't know. But I didn't want to find out. It was kind of creepy. And I had another one too that I did something bad that I shouldn't have did. I was showing a house. I think it was somebody famous. It was in Voorhees, and they had a man cave that had really cool jerseys, football, everything signed, basketball. And there was I probably shouldn't tell this story because the person who is still around may see this podcast, and what are the odds of that? But there was this gigantic sneaker, this big, on a pedestal, and it looked like it was gold. And my buyers were looking at this house. It was in Voorhees. This is 20 years ago, I guess, 15 years ago. And he's like, "What is that?" And I don't know, we both went up to it, we touched it, and an alarm went off, so we ran out there.
I was shooting a house once and got to touch the Super Bowl trophy.
My brother-in-law he went to the World Series as a pitcher. I had him on my American Dream show, and I actually tried on his World Series ring.
Okay.
Which was really cool.
Yeah.
The whole family was trying it on at my grandson's christening. We all had to get ring. It's huge.
Okay.
Yeah, not as many diamonds as the players, but yeah. But I've done a lot. I know you've probably done famous people too. I've been in this job in Cherry Hill. I've done, my first open house was Larry Boa's house, and I met Steve Carlton. We met Gorilla Monsoon. which he gave us all autographed posters, which was really cool.
Neat.
And then a girl in our office sold Manute Bull a house, and that man was so tall. He had a custom car, and it was like a Jaguar, and he sat in the back because his legs were so long, and the girl was sitting up here showing him houses. It was hysterical, you know. That was really funny. And then I sold Ron Hextall's house.
Okay.
I had the buyer who bought it, and he owned a sports memorabilia company, and he was so starstruck. And he was like, she had a picture of her. She was an Olympic ice skater. Over the bed, they had her picture. It was so cool. And he owned a sports memorabilia company. It was really funny. He wound up buying Hextall's house. He comes to the settlement. I thought it was the janitor. He had like on ripped jeans, and he just like a leather coat or dungaree jacket with his hand in his pocket. He just stood in the doorway. I'm thinking, who's that? I didn't even realize it was Ron Hextall until we were done. I'm like, who's that? I think of Ron Hextall. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it is neat when you have somebody that's famous and, in sports and everything.
Uh-huh.
When I'm in houses by myself, I get a little jumpy
down.
sometimes.
It's creepy,
yeah, they're very creepy.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect that I was going to have the agent coming to the house.
Oh.
And so I hear somebody trying to get into the front door, and I couldn't remember if I locked it or not. So I threw myself up against the door to stop them from coming in. He's like, "Lady, is that you?" I'm like, "Yeah, who is it?"
That reminds me of a story with me. Like, I was showing a house years ago, and I'm like, I keep saying years ago, but I open the door, and I go, hello, and I hear somebody go, hello, and I'm like, hello, anybody home? They're like, hello, and this went on for like 10 minutes. My buyer's like, do we go in or do we not? I said, I don't know. He finally said, let's go. So we go in. It was a parakeet in the family room, and every time I said hello, he's like, hello. I was so freaked out because I thought there was some guy going to kill me in the back of the house or something. It was a parakeet that kept talking back to me.
That's really funny.
It was funny. Okay, so I go on this listing talking about feces. So this was down in like Williamstown or something. And the guy had bird cages that were floor to ceiling everywhere. And I go on the listing. He goes, "Do you mind if I let them out? It's time for them to fly around." And I'm like, okay. So I'm doing my walk, and there's birds flying all over the place. I'm thinking, if one of them poops on me, I'm gonna not gonna be happy. So then we did the walk, and there's birds whizzing past my head, and I'm like, this is the weirdest listing I've ever been on. It got worse. So I'm sitting next to the guy, and he's sitting here, and I'm here. I'm giving him my market analysis. He brings the cockatoo and puts it on his shoulder, and he starts putting crackers in his mouth and feeding the next. And I'm sitting here, and he's sitting there. And I look at his ear, and there's all these bite marks in his ear. And I said, "What happened to your ear?" He goes, "Oh, when he misses." And I'm like, well, just don't put any crackers near me. I was like,
goodness.
He was feeding the cockatoo crackers out of the corner of his mouth, and he had all these cockatoo scars or bite marks all over his ears. But that was different.
That's weird.
It was weird, yeah.
Of course, you never open a bedside drawer.
I've had some, yeah.
I
don't open anything.
Yeah, when I have to remove
you're not
stuff.
supposed to.
Yeah, definitely never a drawer next to the bedside stand. When I have to remove items from the bedside stand, I
Open it and throw them in there.
No, I don't. I don't want to see anything that's in those drawers. I usually just put them behind the pillows so that I don't have to invade their privacy.
I have a funny story, but I'm not going to tell that one about something like that. Yeah, we've all had some good stories.
Yeah, there's definitely some drug-related stories
I
have too, with evidence of illicit drug use.
Oh yeah.
I walked into one lady's guest bedroom, and she had a picture of a famous person using drugs, and I asked her to remove it, and she says, "No, I really like that picture. We're going to go ahead and keep it." I had to Photoshop that picture out of the photos that I took because I wasn't going to allow such an explicit photograph.
Well, now that you're saying that, just bringing up another story, showing this house. It might have been Gloucester Township or Washington Township. Every single photo was nude or nude parts of bodies. It was the weirdest thing. But it was couples and all through the house. And then we start going down the basement steps, and there was like these insets. Every one was a photograph of a different body part as we went down the basement. And my buyers are like, and I'm like we're just like going like this, going down the steps. Like, do we even want to go down there? Like, I don't even know if we should go down. So we actually turned around and went up and left because the seller was there. They were in the living room.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
that's uncomfortable.
it was very uncomfortable. But we said, you know what, we're good, thank you. And we just left. I didn't even want to see what was in that basement.
Right.
Because you never know.
You never know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've had some funny stories with realtor friends of mine have told me. I have one really good one about a friend of mine. When your house is for sale, make sure you listen to your voicemail, because if you don't know about a showing, people can walk in, and I've seen multiple things that I won't even mention. But this young girl, they brought the family back for a second showing, and it was the mother, the father, both sets of parents, the couple buying the house, and the kids, and I think an aunt and uncle, it was like 12 people. As they open the bathroom door, she opens the shower and grabs a towel hang, and she's butt naked, soaking wet, and they're all staring at her.
Oh, no.
Naked.
Like, here's your towel.
With the shower curtain, But yeah, we've had stuff like that, but you do have to pay attention to your messages when you have your house for sale, for sure. I could tell you 20 stories about that,
Some people probably do it on purpose.
I actually did
Let me
have a guy.
just jump in the shower real quick.
Yeah, I think I had somebody that did that. He used to jump in the shower every time we went to the house. Every time there was a showing, he jumped in the house and came out with a towel and a robe on. It was like the weirdest thing. So we could go on like this all day,
yes.
And that's why I call this, is this for real estate? Because no one would believe us if we told these stories. But I have another really good one I have to finish with. We have friends who have a party, have a lot of parties, and we were at a Halloween party. This is one of our best couple friends. Did you ever meet Terry and Jerry? Like, they have all these birthday parties, or we play cards, or they have like Halloween parties. So years ago, I was showing a house in Marlton, and this guy came right. Well, let me tell you the story. The guy's telling this story because I had my house for sale, and years ago I showed this house. It was a nasty divorce. And I opened the front door, and the guy comes running down the steps with a shotgun pointed at me and says, "Get that, you know what, out of my house, or I'll shoot you." I'm not selling my house. And I'm like, okay. And the buyer gets behind me, grabs my coat, and backs out behind me like he was scared. He hid behind me, okay? But it gets even better. So I'm at this party with these friends of ours, and everybody starts telling me, when you're a realtor, people start telling the real estate stories. So this guy, and my friend's eyes are going, because she knows this story. So this guy starts telling the story. He goes, "I got one," and I've never seen this guy. I didn't recognize him anyway. He goes, "I felt so bad for this poor realtor." He goes, "I was going through a nasty divorce, and I had a townhouse in Marlton," and I'm like, he goes, the poor girl, I scared her half to death. I came running down the steps with a shotgun and pointed it at her and told her to get the F out of my house. And he's telling this story. My girlfriend's eyes are going. But I didn't tell him it was me. But what are the odds I would wind up at a party that nutball was at?
Coincidence.
Yeah, and somebody had brought him. It wasn't somebody invited. Like, somebody brought him to the party. Like, they had you bring a friend. What are the odds of that? That's a true story. True story. Everybody, all of us, we talked about it the next morning. Like, Terry was like, "Oh my God, that was you." She kept pulling me over to the point. "How? That was you?" Like, she was like so freaked out,
That's funny.
You never know. It's a very small world, so you got to watch what you say too. So,
yes, as we're
you don't know who knows who as we're telling all these stories. So, well, thank you for being here again with me to tell our funny stories. Maybe we'll do this again sometime.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Take care.